If you're a working mom and you're heading on maternity leave or you're already on maternity leave, here are a few things you need to do before you return to work. Hi, I'm Onajite. Welcome to the motherhood series of my channel. And in this video, we're going to talk about 5 things you need to do before returning from maternity leave. I've worked 12 years in the corporate world and I have 3 kids. So I've been on maternity leave 3 different times. And I had 3 different experiences in 3 different organizations with 3 different managers. From all the experience I've had, I've learned about these 5 things you need to do before returning from maternity leave. The first thing you need to do before you even go on maternity leave is to know exactly what your company policy says about maternity leave. How long is it? Are you allowed to go a few weeks before you have your baby? Are you allowed to add your annual leave to your maternity leave and extend the time that you get to spend at home and spend with your baby? Who's going to cover for you at work? How do you relate with your manager and your team? Are they allowed to reach out to you while you're away? And what does the company policy say about return to work? There are very few companies who have a structured return to work program. If you're fortunate to be in one of those companies, awesome. If not, you have to create your return to work experience for yourself. Once you know what your company handbook says about return to work, about your maternity leave, your maternity cover, and your return to work, you'll feel safer once you go on maternity leave, knowing that you had all your bases covered ahead of your return. The second thing you need to do before you return to work is you need to reach out to your work bestie. Now, this might not be the strict, uptight corporate advice you expected, but you must have a work bestie who's either in the same team with you or at least in a team that's close enough that can give you the tea on what's going on in the organization before you return. This is the main thing that helped me on my 3rd return from maternity leave, and that by far was my best experience. In the first 2 instances, I didn't have anyone who I could call on and get detailed information on what was going on in my role and what was going on in the organization. So I felt out of sorts. I felt uncomfortable when I was getting back into work, and it took a lot of time and a lot of friction before I could settle back in. Stay in touch with your work bestie. You're going to need him or her when you're returning to work. In the weeks before your return, schedule a face-to-face meeting with them if possible. Take them out for a cup of coffee or lunch and ask them questions about what's going on at work, where your projects are, what new projects are coming on. Ask them about your manager. Ask all the questions you can and ask for advice on how you can position yourself for success on your return. It's very important to have a work bestie in this process. The third thing you need to do after speaking to your work bestie is reach out to your line manager. In an ideal world, your line manager would reach out to you knowing that you're returning soon and welcoming you back to the team after being away for so long. If your line manager is not reaching out to you, reach out to your line manager. Ask them how things are. Ask questions that are specific to your role. Ask them what projects the team is currently working on, and ask them how they want you to play your part in the ongoing project. This way your line manager knows that you're ready to hit the ground running. I dislike that statement. Basically, your line manager knows that you're ready to come back to work. They start to prepare to have you back in the room, back on the team. And even unconsciously, they start to drop your name in meetings and say, hey, this lady's coming back from leave. In a few weeks, she's going to take that on and she's going to take that on. That way you get back to work and you don't have a complete empty slate. You already have duties waiting for you, and that always helps when you're just returning from leave. And number 4, you need to reach out to human resources. If you have a human resources business partner that's dedicated to your team, make sure you reach out to them before you resume. Ask them about your benefits. If they stopped during the time you were on maternity leave, ask them about when they would restart. Ask them about your bonus. Would it be prorated for the current year because you were on maternity leave for a few months? And also ask them for tips on how to reintegrate. You need to be proactive in making this connection with human resources before you return so that they know you're back and they can help with your reintegration back to work. Finally, make sure you have prepared for care for your child while you're at work. Don't wing it and don't go on this last minute. In my case, I had registered my daughter in a daycare 2 months before I returned to work. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I remember I cried the very first day I dropped her off at daycare. But at the time I resumed, I was used to the routine. I was used to dropping her off She also got used to being in daycare, so it was easy for me to drop her off and go to work. I had peace of mind knowing that she was with people that I was very familiar with as well. I was able to focus on work and focus on building connections again with my team, with my line manager. And it helped me show up fully as myself at work and also show up fully for my baby when work was over. So there you have it. 5 things you need to do before you return from maternity. If you haven't done any of these things and you're about to go or you're already on maternity leave, make sure you keep them in mind for your return. Thank you for watching this video. If this was helpful to you or you think it to be helpful for someone who's about to return from maternity leave, please share this with them and don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you go. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.